Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Fan Appreciation Month here on Reaction and Review. Tonight, guys, I'm taking a look at an Italian zombie film from 1980. That movie is Hell of the Living Dead. Now, the only things I know about this movie is, one, it has something to do with zombies, and two, I know it's directed by an Italian director by the name of Bruno Mattei. And I've heard a lot of things about him, both positive and negative when it comes to his films. I have no idea exactly how his films are because, well, this is going to be my first exposure to any of his films. I'm kind of hoping for it to be decent, but I also know the history which zombie films have when it comes to reaction and review, and I'm not really a big fan of a lot of them which come, crawling, which come crawling my way. I'm kind of hoping for this one to be kind of a change in that. However, the only way I'm going to find out if it is any good is if I shut the fuck up and I push play, and I'm going to do that right now. So, without further ado, it's time to kick back, relax, and check out Hell of the Living Dead. Okay, I kind of have a question here in terms of, plant safety. We have here a bunch of people, and they're all walking into what is possibly a hazardous part of this, power plant. Bunch of them are wearing gas masks, which, okay, that kind of makes sense. The other ones are wearing rubber hoods that are not fastened to their body in any way, which means that if there's any kind of, dangerous, hazardous gas, it's just going to go right up inside and kill them anyway. What exactly is the point of the fucking hood? Oh, and we have our first zombie. Zombie looks okay. Guys, I would kind of like to say right now that the dialogue in this movie, at least so far, is absolutely horrible. I really don't know if that is because the dub was done bad, or if it's because they were given a horrible script to start with. But for whatever reason, the dialogue in this thing is absolute shit. I just kind of wanted to let you guys know. Has it ever occurred to any of these special ops soldiers to shoot their targets in the head? Just once! They've already shot at a dozen fucking zombies and not... Oh wait, I believe they finally hit one of them in the head. Took them that goddamn long to finally score a headshot. My god. Mind you, these are supposed to be special forces soldiers, and it takes them this long to finally decide, oh yeah, a headshot could probably do it. Oh, god. Guys, if you are going to make it look as if your car is moving, it would really help if you would cover up the stationary tree behind your passenger window. I swear to God, guys, I can see a fucking tree right there, and they are supposed to be driving. I totally understand the concept of using poor man's process to show that you're driving, but that is just laziness on an absolutely biblical fucking level, guys. So this zombie outbreak apparently has whittled the UN down to about 20 people. You know what? I believe I can safely say this. If that were to happen in real life, I don't think anything of value would be totally lost. You know what I mean? Okay, that actually was kind of creative. I never thought I'd see a cat come crawling out of the body of a zombie. That was really fucking cool. Wow, I actually said something positive about this fucking movie. I'm kind of surprised. Guys, I actually think this is sort of a good enough time to mention this. This here's about the only other positive I can give to this movie. The soundtrack is really good. In fact, hell, guys, the music in this thing is fantastic. I just sort of wish that this music was used for a better movie. I mean, God, this movie sucks ass, guys. thank fuck that's finally done. Well, guys, that was Hell of the Living Dead, and oh, Jesus, God, shut it off. Okay. Wow. I really wasn't expecting it to be that bad, but well, I guess that's what I get. Okay, I think I'm gonna do this a little bit differently. I'm gonna start with the positives, what few positives I can cull from this, and then I'll have a field day with all the negatives. Okay, first of all, as I stated, the soundtrack is fantastic. The music in this thing is haunting and awesome, and I may have to go out and download the soundtrack for this. It was that good. So we have that as a positive. In terms of special effects, a handful, and when I say handful, I really do mean just a handful of the makeup effects are really good. I mean, it is basically whenever a zombie's got a hunk of their face missing, it looks really good because, well, they actually went into like a whole lot of detail and it actually looks almost like the skin's been like shredded off their face. And also the gore effects involved in a couple of the kills look really good. Of course, again, those good gore effects are few and far between, but I'll get to those in just a sec. Now, that's it for all the positives, guys. Now let's talk about the movie itself. Let's hit on all those negatives and let's kick it off with the writing. Dear sweet fuck the writing. Okay. You know, guys, how I normally talk about how characters in some of these movies are absolutely unlikable? Well, I can't say that about the characters in this movie. Because, you see, in order for a character to be either likable or unlikable, they have to have personality. They have to have something. Every single character in this film is hollow and empty and pointless. There is no reason to give a shit about any character in this film. None of them have a lick of personality, thus there's no reason to like them or dislike them, and there's no reason to care whether or not any of them live or die by the end of the film. So, right there, we have a huge negative in the sense that the writing here is terrible. Now, I really can't blame it all on the original filmmakers, because I don't know how loyal the dub was for this. And I am going to get into acting in just a sec, but before anyone says, well, then perhaps I should have watched it, then maybe I should have watched it subtitled. Well, see, guys, that actually is sort of the thing. The only option on this DVD is the English dub, so you basically are stuck with that. So, again, I have no idea how loyal the dub was, but I will get to the acting in just a sec. I want to cover some more on the writing. The dialogue in this thing is completely empty and shit, which, again, kind of ties into the fact that the characters are all hollow and pointless. So yeah, we have dialogue which goes nowhere. We have characters who have all the personality of a fucking coffee cup. Nope, scratch that. Coffee cups can actually be, likable if they have a witty something printed on them. So basically, we basically have characters who have the personality of a styrofoam cup. There, we go. And the story itself is your typical zombie fare, so I'm not going to harp on it too much. Basically, it basically is a research, it's basically like a research project leads to a zombie apocalypse, and that's all that you really have to know. Now, also in terms of writing, I kind of find it a little bit shit that amongst our 6 main characters, four of them are specially trained soldiers. They are special ops soldiers. They have to be told more than once to shoot these zombies in the head. First of all, I could have sworn that being fucking special ops means that you were trained to shoot shit in the head. And yet they have to be told more than once that the only way to kill these fuckers is by shooting them in the head. And even after a second time being told, they still almost never aim for the head. It makes no fucking sense. Oh my god. Okay, so yeah, guys, writing in this thing is an absolute disaster. And I can't even think of a positive to pull out of this thing in terms of writing. Now let's talk about the acting. I'm going to cover 2 things. I'm going to cover physical acting, body language, what have you, and the dub acting. Let's start off with the dub acting. The dub in this thing, well, the dub here isn't great. However, I really wasn't expecting much because this is probably the exact same dub that was on the old VHS copies of this thing back in 1980. So I was not expecting a fantastic dub here. So basically, off of that, it is certainly better than most other dubs from the late 70s and early 80s. So really, there it almost shines. As for body language, the acting in this thing, at least in terms of body language, is absolutely hideous. Because we have characters who are dead, and you can see them clearly breathing because the director couldn't be asked to get, I don't know, maybe a fucking like plaster cast of a torso to put over the actor's torso, so that way they can breathe and it's not noticeable on camera. Or we have one woman who is dead and she's hanging upside down and she's trying to force this blood out of her mouth so that way it drips down her face. And she's moving her chin, and she's, moving her throat. You can clearly see her attempting to force this blood out of her mouth. And it looks horrible because she's supposed to be dead, but there's all that incredibly clear movement, which is clear as day because the camera is so goddamn close you can almost see her nostrils move as she breathes. Oh my god. So yeah, guys, in terms of body language, just off of that much, it sucks. I also have another scene, which is way early in the film, still irritates me. All the way now to the finish of the film, there is one actor who, upon seeing a child zombie, begins to gag and vomit. And this actor does something which I've never seen a human being do. He vomits while standing perfectly straight up, and apparently gagging instead of it actually being, an actual gagging movement, as if something's trying to force itself up. It's just him going, and then just sort of, like a little bit of water and some cottage cheese comes out, and then that is it for vomit. At no time does he actually gag. At no time does he actually lunge forward. Everything which sort of goes with vomiting is all missing there, except for the little bit of cottage cheese that apparently was supposed to pass off as vomit. Yeah, so we have that going on in terms of acting. And the body language on the zombies, I've got a lot to talk about, guys, with zombies, so I'm going to cover it now. I would have loved it if this movie had some kind of consistency involving the zombies. And this is everything from makeup to body language, but I'm going to start with the body language just because I'm sort of talking about that right now. In every good zombie film, they have rules in place for their zombies, all right? If you go and you watch Evil Dead, Zombieland, or any other halfway decent zombie film, they have rules in place. Zombies look like this and they move like this. So that way, there's some sort of consistency there. This movie doesn't have that. Instead, we have certain zombies who are walking and their arms are perfectly down at their side. Other ones, their arms are out like this, as if they are somehow trying to be a giant fucking bird. And other times their arms are straight out, and other times just one arm's out, or one arm's way up here. There is no consistency in how these zombies move. Certain ones, apparently, are able to bend their arms and legs, and other ones, everything is absolutely ramrod stiff. It doesn't make any sense, and it doesn't work for this. And while I'm on the subject of consistency in zombies, I want to talk about the makeup on the zombies, because even though some of them look really good when they have, friggin' chunks of skin shredded off of their face, all of that looks great. But then we get to the actual makeup on these zombies. Certain people have no makeup at all, and they're just kind of walking around stiff, and their clothes are all tattered, and that's how you know that they are a zombie. Others have their faces painted green. I don't know why, but there are green Hulk zombies in this movie. And also, to complement our green Hulk zombies, we also have blue Smurf zombies, which are just actors who are completely coated in blue powder makeup. And it actually looks okay, and it would have looked even better if every zombie was painted blue, or if every zombie was painted green, instead of certain ones are all completely blue, or other ones they have a streak of blue down their face and nothing else. And when they aren't blue, and when they aren't green, and when they don't have chunks of skin completely ripped off of their face, they basically just have a little bit of powder like flecked on their face to make them look kind of pale. So makeup-wise, we have what essentially looks almost like 3 or 4 different zombie films all kind of meshed together. It looks horrible, and it looks even worse when these different types of zombies are all sharing a shot together. Where we basically will see a blue zombie, a green zombie, a shredded zombie, and one with like a little like streak of something across their face, and one that's kind of pale, all in the same shot. It looks absolutely amateurish and shit. And speaking of amateurish and shit, I want to talk a little bit about stock footage. This movie absolutely pads the shit out of itself with tons of stock footage. At one point they are in the jungle and they run into this native tribe who lives in the jungle. And they use stock footage from 3 clearly different tribes who have different kinds of, you know, dress, different kinds of like makeup or paint or what have you, you know, and different kinds of like ceremonies and dance and what have you. And to me, guys, it looks horrible, especially when you finally see our actors interacting with members of this tribe, and the actors who are supposed to be members of the tribe look nothing like anything you see in the stock footage. Guys, I'm going to give you a comparison for this. I want you to imagine if somebody made a movie based on the Buccaneers football team, and the actors are all dressed as members of the Buccaneers, and the opposing team are all dressed as the Colts, and all of the stock footage is taken from a Packers-Lions game, a Cowboys-49ers game, and a Steelers-Falcons game, and you're supposed to believe that it's all the same fucking football game. It doesn't work, and it looks like shit, and that's exactly what they tried here. And for those of you who got absolutely none of that reference, go ahead and just look up, you know, NFL football, and hopefully you'll know what I was talking about. So yeah, and when they aren't trying to mix and match footage of various tribes, we get hit with tons of stock footage of animals. I'm talking, we've got everything from elephants to birds to bats to a shot of a fox attacking some little fucking like rodent thing and killing it. And all of it's there for no other reason than to pad the film out. And I don't like it when movies have to be padded out that much. There is probably at least 15 minutes worth of stock footage padding in this thing, which means that if all of it were cut, which would probably have been for the better, this movie would have clocked in at about 1 hour and 25 minutes, and that seems a little light for a zombie film. So they literally used this shit to pad it out to make it almost seem like to actually put it at a respectable length for your average zombie film. The problem is putting in all of that stock footage actually takes away from your story, because none of your stock footage is telling any part of the story. It is absolutely unnecessary and pointless, and for the love of fuck, for future reference out there, for anybody, if you're going to do a film involving any kind of like jungle, you know, tribe, please only use stock footage of one tribe instead of 3, and when you have actors dressed as members of the tribe, please try to match what they look like. Otherwise, you get fucking amateurish garbage like this. Okay, camera work though overall is actually pretty decent, and the lighting here is good. But then again, none of that is really anything ultimately special. When all is said and done, am I able to recommend Hell of the Living Dead? No. There's no earthly way I'm ever going to recommend this god-awful thing, because there are far better zombie films out there. Wait. By the way, I would also like to mention, there is no zombie in this film who looks even close to the one on the cover. I just kind of wanted to share that, because I just noticed it, and I kind of wanted to share that point with everybody. There is no zombie in the film that looks even halfway like this, because none of the zombies in this film look this cool. Anyway. Could I possibly recommend this? No. There are far better zombie films out there you could watch. I'm talking about Evil Dead, or And by the way, I'm talking about the original Evil, Dead, not that stupid remake bullshit. Same thing goes with Dawn of the Dead and Night of, and fucking like Night of the Living Dead. And if you're looking for zombie comedies, there's always, Zombieland, Shaun of the Dead, and Fido. All of those are better than this fucking thing. In fact, also Dead Alive, or well, for those of you who don't live in America, it's Brain Dead. Also, far better zombie film than this. So yeah, you guys can go out there, you can watch any of those, and you'd get a better, experience than watching this. Now, because this is Fan Appreciation Month, Hell of the Living Dead came off of the Amazon wish list. The person who sent it in is a YouTuber by the name of The Moviegoer 14. Yes, I had to double check the name there. And dude, thank you, because I've always wanted to check out anything which was directed by Bruno. It was by Bruno. It was Mattei. And I've been kind of curious about his work. And if the rest of his work is anything like this, I'm almost tempted to avoid it. Either that, or else I might just bite the bullet, and I might do a whole theme month just based around his shit. Right now, I don't know. I kind of have to let this thing settle for a bit, but there's no way in hell I'm ever watching this horrible thing a second time. But anyway, dude, thank you. And please, guys, by all means, go over to his YouTube channel, and that is youtube.com/user/themoviegoer14. I will provide a link to his channel in this video's description. Please go over there, check out anything and everything he has, and if you like what you see, sub him. As for me, I need to go watch a good zombie film. I think I'm going to go watch fucking Dead Alive, just because I haven't watched that thing in like a year and a half. So yes, guys, with that, we come to the close of another reaction and review. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, take care, and I will see you all in the near future. Peace.